Good evening. Chris Devine, 759 Center Street. Madam Mayor, members of the council, thank you for your service and for your time this evening. I'd like to start with a rhetorical question. How is the culture of any organization ultimately experienced by those it serves? On December 13th, I received a zoning violation, and I need to share some alarming observations from this first experience. After the citation appeared on my front door, I took the first available opportunity to meet with town staff to better understand my new predicament. In that meeting, I learned that the town had very little understanding of the cited activity, which was house concerts, and as a result were very vague on how my activity tripped the wire as a commercial use. After the meeting, I submitted my application for appeal and dug deeper into the ordinance, where I found conflicts with what I was told by the staff, so I sent a follow-up email with 3 questions. Here's one of those questions, quote, "Can you confirm that no penalties will accrue until and unless the violation is upheld, as stated in Section 78? A specific and I think fair question. Here's what I got back in email, quote, "I'm unable to opine on the consequences of future actions other than to say the town governs itself pursuant to state code and town ordinances." I instantly felt better. And I also knew I needed a lawyer. When a citizen is abruptly cited with a violation, the town has said you are now guilty and may incur civil and even criminal penalties, and the clock is ticking. Along the way, I turned to you, my elected officials, for insights as to why I wasn't entitled to basic information, but I was denied that access. Maybe under the guise of process integrity, I was never given an official reason. So here's what this means for any citizen in this situation. First, you will need an excellent command of the English language. You need the financial ability to appeal and to obtain legal assistance to interpret the ordinance, especially the section on potential criminal violations. You can't turn to your elected officials or town leadership. They can't help you. And you better make a lot more time in your day to sweat this because it's a very big deal. Taken together, I've just described denial of the right to due process, a protection granted by the 14th Amendment. In layman's terms, this really sucks. In ending my comments, I'd like to return to a slight variation on my first question. How is the culture of a small town ultimately experienced by its citizens? It's in the low-level stuff that leadership might not always see, the mundane turning of all the gears required to maintain order. But what if these things are devoid of common courtesy, gratitude, compassion, love, maybe even magic? That might be a stretch. But aren't these the qualities we want in our small town culture? Because if the culture you intend doesn't make it all the way through to the other side of that stuff, you have nothing. Because most of us live on the other side every day. As our leadership team, please take a close look at what's happening here, especially the part about due process. Thank you again for your time and your service.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, sir. Yes, sir.
My name's Lon Dunn. I live on Fantasia Drive. I don't have quite the formal statement that he has, but in looking up this 100-page ordinance that even in and of itself, if you bother to read it, if you've ever read it, challenge you to stomach 100 pages of this nonsense. There is an actual cure for it, and most towns aren't aware that they can be brought to bear. Under Title 42, which I've had some experience in helping towns do, Title 42, 1983, that's not the year, that's the federal statute. It allows people to sue local government for violating any federal right. So if the man's Fourth Amendment, 14th or First Amendment right to free speech, doing what he wants in his home and throwing a party in his home is going to get an ordinance, you're going to use a local ordinance, that law allows you to shut that down. Now, you guys can go around and rewrite the whole 100 pages if you want and fix it, or you could just let it be. But I think I'd like to talk a little bit and bring it home a little bit more personally. Like any human being on this planet, I spend 90% of my disposable income 5 miles from where I reside. My dry cleaning, my pharmacy, up and down the roads of Herndon, go to the grocery store, my doctor, right? I'm a citizen, I pay taxes. What in the heck was this zoning person doing, loitering around in his parking lot at 8 o'clock at night? What are we paying, overtime for this person to do this? What do they think, they're Magnum PI? Really, it's a joke. What is she doing hanging out 8 o'clock, counting how many people this guy has going in and out of his house for a party on private property? And then basically what we're doing then is, as a town, we're stating that this crazy ordinance allows us to police what people do within their home under the guise of zoning. I just don't like it. I don't like the idea that my taxpayer dollars are going that way. I don't like that I have to come down here and speak my mind about it, because I just think it's just absolutely beyond the pale of imagination that we're paying our town employees to hang out and loiter in this guy's parking lot. It's ridiculous, okay? Not only that, but if he wants to keep throwing parties, threaten him some more, that's just ridiculous. I say town council does something about it and tells the town employees, knock it off, leave him alone. Let him do what he wants in the privacy of his home. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Leah Devine, and I live at 12101 at East Park Drive. My name is Leah, and I live in the Kingstream neighborhood, and I'm actually a kindergarten teacher as well at Drainsville Elementary School. And so naturally, I believe that everything we ever needed to learn about life, we learned in kindergarten. Chris Devine's zoning violation from the town of Herndon creates for the town leadership what we in Teacher Talk call a teachable moment. We have a lot of these in kindergarten, and we have just as many in the real world. Mr. Devine's zoning violation appeal is most definitely an opportunity for the town leadership to not only act in accordance with the town's vision, but also to create a beautiful teachable moment for the members of our community. Posted on the Town of Herndon's website, which I went to last night, is a vision statement, which includes the declaration that Herndon is the heart of an expanded community where arts and entertainment enrich the quality of life and bring people together. There's a living example of this in a townhouse on Center Street. Chris's house concert, I don't call them parties, they're house concerts. They give Herndon residents the opportunity to have an unbelievably intimate musical experience where these artists of the highest caliber, I mean, we're talking about Nashville artists, come to share their stories and their music with those who choose to come together as friends and share that space that evening. It's a small but shining example of how the arts enrich our quality of life and bring the community together in this town. By comparison, we have the Friday Night Live Booze Fest that occurs from May through August. And in my opinion, does little but bring noise, mediocre cover bands, and a plethora of preteens and teens that trample through the center of an otherwise peaceful Friday night in our town. I believe that if we're looking for an event that speaks to the town of Herndon's desire to embrace the arts and enrich the quality of life for our town's residents, Chris's house concerts deliver that in a much more genuine way than Friday Night Live does. I would encourage the town leadership to carefully reflect on its vision to determine how to respond in this teachable moment. If this town is to shut down house concerts based on unclear zoning regulations, then the moment of teaching its citizens that Herndon not only talks the talk, but walks the walk when it comes to the arts, culture, and community, it's lost. When I, as a teacher, am faced with a difficult but a teachable moment, I take a deep breath, I step back, I ask myself, what is the real lesson here? These moments, they set a precedent for how one is to move forward and to do better for themselves and the community that they are a part of. If the town of Herndon wants its community members to be able to gather and enjoy opportunities like house concerts, then they need to understand that this very important decision is going to set a precedent for other events.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Is there, yes, sir.
Hi, Madam Mayor, Council. My name is Bill Hamlet. I live at 1002 Monroe Street. Lived there for 16 years now, just down the street from Tom Rust. A couple other commission members may live close by. I can tell you that our streets are full of cars sometimes for events of the political persuasion. I'm here also to support Chris Devine in his zoning ordinance debacle. So I'm impacted by Chris and his house concerts in a very positive way, and so is everybody that goes there. Some of these artists he comes in with actually go to the school and help out their people in Guitar Boosters, which I believe Chris is still affiliated with. And so he has brought to us this great venue. It is just a private home, somebody opening their home. There's, chairs sitting there, much like you'd see here, and it is quiet as you can hear a pin drop other than the guy playing guitar or the other woman performing whatever. It's a great, intimate ordeal. You should go if you have the chance. And I was encouraged because I've heard people tonight talk about porch parties, etc. So I know you know what getting together is and how much people like to get together and be together. And to hear these people play wherever they come from, where there's many from Nashville, some from Australia, they're great and they're trying to make a living. There's no money made by Chris on this. It's totally all money goes to the artist. House concerts are a national forthcoming here, and if you look around, pull them up on a website, you'll find there's many around here. Reston, Falls Church, etc. Most of them operate under a name. If a name bothered this person who wrote the ordinance, then or made the insinuation here that it's a commercial event or something, then that's the, just a way to get the advertisement out there. So I would implore you in your deliberation of that zoning infraction to look the other way, whatever you want to do. But I can't say look the other way, but if you can't go into somebody's living room and tell them what to do on a non-commercial event, there's many parties that happen in Herndon every night, every day. So it'd be the same thing for that. And this is a very positive event that happens here. We do go out to the restaurants here. Chris has bought, snacks and things for us. There's no, purchase of alcohol by him, by anybody. So it's a very straight up place.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on any item that's not listed on our public hearing agenda? Thank you. State your name and address for the record. You have up to 3 minutes.
Hey, good evening. My name's Jason Baranowski. I'm at 1116 Arctic Quill Road in Herndon. A lot of what I was going to say was there's some crossover with what's already been said. It's about Chris's venue. And actually, I was listening, my first town council meeting I've ever been to, and I've been listening to a lot of the messages that came from the town council. And I haven't been to Chris's venue yet, but I've seen it from a distance, and I've been dying to get there. And I've seen all the marketing and all the messages, and it's been fantastic. So first of all, Chris's venue is actually very parallel with a lot of Herndon's identity and what you said tonight. First of all, it's extremely entrepreneurial. Extremely. I believe our sons were playing together Jam and Java one night, and Chris told me he left his corporate job to launch this. And I was like, wow, man, what a dream come true. Good for you. It's awesome. Second of all, obviously it's for the arts. And I could tell you that, yes, all the artists have come in, and they're not just, like our sons in punk rock bands, but these are really nice artists. Our sons are great artists too, but it's for the arts, and actually it's an educational venue. I remember my son going to the home because Chris has an extremely vast guitar collection, and both of our sons, I believe, went through the famous guitar class at Herndon that's known and recognized nationally, and they explored all the guitars at the venue. So I haven't forgotten that. And you mentioned diversity tonight. And with the diverse amount of artists and the diverse audiences pulled together right next door to Friday Night Live in a smaller format. I'm not anti-Friday Night Live. I'm a former volunteer. No qualms with the message that you had either. But I think that's also part of Herndon's identity regardless. So it's a boutique situation. It's class, act, and I haven't even been there yet. But I would encourage you to just allow Chris a due process in a fair way, and I think that's really what we're just looking for, is fairness in the situation and maybe not as complicated. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Who else would like to come forward? Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on any item? No? Anyone? Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask for some clarification from the town attorney? I know that there was a zoning violation issued, and this item will be not seen by the town council initially, but by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Is that correct?
That's correct. Any appeal goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and from there, it goes to the circuit court, so it never sees the town council.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up to us, though, because there is a role for the town council in looking at our code if there were a change that were to be made in the future on any of our codes. So now, thank you for helping us understand where you are and what's going on in your situation.